And we're live, even though it doesn't look like it, but there we are. So it says there's one viewer sort of popping back between one viewer and two. And I'm going to pop on here so that I can see comments, and in the comments, if you're there, then let us know who you are. My name is Richard Liston. I'm the founder and president of Sphere College Project, a mentorship-based adult education program for people, adults who need it and want it. We provide education and support. We are, looks like there are several viewers, I think. It's hard to see from here. Let us know who's here, if you're here. Oh, I gotta turn this down. Oh, this is good. It's a low latency connection. I hope the sound is good enough.
What did you say, a low what?
Low latency.
And what does that mean?
That's a low amount of delay between when we say and do things and when they see it. I've changed a setting, so there's a trade-off between quality of video and audio and the latency, the amount of time it takes for what I'm saying to get to the viewers. So I am on here. Someone is texting me. Brian is apparently watching and said he lost us. There was sound and no visual. And now I'm starting streaming again. And I'm going back to look to see. Turn the sound down. Off. The sound on your phone, turn it down. Keep turning it down. There you go. That's so we don't get feedback. Okay, I'm going to go back. It says there are 3 viewers. I don't know. It looks like we're streaming.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Audrey. Sorry?
Please.
Audrey Yatras. I'm a board member. Good morning.
And Connie says good morning. Connie's here. And someone else is here. Someone else just joined, I think. But we're gathering. This is how these live streams go. It takes a few minutes to get people gathered. It's going to be Connie and whoever else is there. It's going to be a small group this morning. Harold has transportation issues and will not be able to make it, among other issues. Maybe people know that it's been a challenging Health Week in Harold Land, which is why we're doing what we are doing, because if we weren't doing what we were doing this past week, then Harold would have been in danger of either losing his life or his hand. And we said, I said, I'm not going to let him lose his hand, so paid for his health care.
Do you feel at liberty to discuss what happened? I mean, not to go into details, but we all experience difficulties, but sometimes discussing what happened is a perfect example of what starts out as just being a small potato turned into a big platter of mashed potatoes.
I think working with good information, solid information, is always a good thing. So there's a lot of ways you can answer the question, what happened? Where would you like to start?
Well, what I'd like to start out with is the bottom line of this is it's sort of the pit that you can fall into when a number of going into potholes, when a number of things, or speed bumps, or whatever metaphor you want to use, when a number of things happen. But what starts out as just being a small little nuisance turns into something that could be a tragedy. And so when you said to lose your hand sounds like, you might get it caught in the meat grinder or something, and you say, how could that happen, or something. And this wasn't something that was just something, he works at Ingalls and he got it cut in the meat slicer. This was something that
we don't know what caused it.
Well, we don't know what caused it, but it was something that was a small bump that turned into something that was major. And so what happened was it was a bump that became infected. And so the infection grew and grew.
Right.
And grew. And so it had time to become worse over a period of, let's say 5 to 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so over that period of time, what started out as something that might have been an urgent care visit turned into what had to be an ER visit, and then where surgery was involved. And then it was also a major visit, and then multiple return visits. And then that was where the decision, the doctor said, you will lose your hand. If you didn't come in tonight, you would have lost your hand the next day. And that's why it suddenly became this, it was pivotal that he came in that night, and it was suddenly, it would have been a tragedy if he waited another day. And it also became, we're talking about the COVID-19 virus, but what he has is MRSA, which is just as deadly.
Absolutely.
And most people have heard of MRSA, because if you know anyone who's ever been in the hospital, there are people who get MRSA when they go in. Well, they go in without it, and then they come out with it.
I'm not sure that everyone necessarily does know about MRSA, and since we're about education, maybe it's worth taking a little time and doing a little Wikipedia.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Let's look it up. MRSA. Is that right?
Yes. I think so.
Infection and I need my dollar reading glasses. Methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, MRSA, refers to a group of gram-positive bacteria that are genetically distinct from other strains of this thing. MRSA is responsible for several difficult-to-treat infections in humans. MRSA is any strain of S. aureus that has developed through horizontal gene transfer and natural selection, multiple drug resistance to beta-lactam antibiotics, which are a broad spectrum group that include penicillins and whatever. MRSA is common in hospitals, prisons, and nursing homes where people with open wounds, invasive devices such as catheters, and weakened immune systems are at greater risk of hospital-acquired infection. MRSA begins as a hospital-acquired infection that has become community-acquired as well as livestock-acquired.
Lifestyle.
Livestock-acquired.
Livestock.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, after 72 hours, MRSA can take hold in human tissues and eventually become resistant to treatment. About 75% of CA MRSA infections are localized to skin and soft tissue and usually can be treated effectively. This is not localized to skin, this is deep. So
Yeah.
they're working on it, and he has future visits to make and no money to pay for it. So I have been making many calls this week and speaking to many people about sources of funds, and just yesterday was pointed to which one was it from? Community Fund of Western North Carolina Emergency Grant that they have been awarding, looks like weekly, to groups, organizations that are still, this is where I would go if I wanted to find out who's actually, working out there. This is the only place I figure I could find. These are the people who are applying for grants in the range of $5,000 to $10,000. So I put in an application. All of the categories that, all the requirements, we fit very strongly, except for proven record of success, So fortunately, and I guess people being Connie and whoever else is there, you're welcome to introduce yourself. But I have been speaking, just so that you are aware, maybe I told you this, that several people associated with Sphere and who have benefited from what we have been doing for a long period of time are willing to make testimonial videos, and we can put them on the Sphere YouTube channel, which this is live streaming on right now, and people can express in their own words and in their own environment, what we have done for them, and make an appeal for funding if they so desire. And what that funding would go to is paying professionals to take us to a level of I don't know, what's the trust, you know, a level of I don't know, viability and sustainability just by virtue of their participation. So there are sort of two directions that funding can go. One is to infrastructure, and one is to directly to help people, which is what we are currently endeavoring to do. So,
with that being said, and Harold having his hand being looked at now, so his hand is okay, but he's still in pain, right? So it was fortunately caught in time, but I guess the bottom line is that he is someone who needs health insurance.
yes,
And so once he gets health insurance, he will be able to handle something like this better the next time, but...
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He could get the health insurance through our organization, should we be in a position to build our infrastructure such that we can handle providing insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To walk into an ER is just so expensive to handle anything, paying out of pocket for individualized cost for each
Right,
procedure.
right,
It's...
yeah, yeah. So the question that we were discussing earlier, Audrey and I, was where are the people who care about these situations and have the funds to be able to support what we're doing. I believe that they are out there. That's why we continue. And they just don't know about us yet.
And, you know, I think the other thing that needs to be brought up is at the time that this virus is going on, a lot of money is being routed that way.
Right.
For all of the people impacted by that. And one of the things, because of the virus, is that the number of prisoners that have been released early, North Carolina has released about 450 prisoners from state and federal prisons. And so, with that being said, the reentry problem is growing.
Right.
And so the infrastructure was weak before,
Right.
and it's not as though they've sort of staffed up in any sort of way to help support the people, the increasing number of people that they have put on buses to say, okay, you have family in Asheville, and they put them on a bus, a Greyhound bus, send them to Asheville, and they get off at Tunnel Road Greyhound bus station, and then they are told, here you go.
Right.
Find your family.
Yes.
And, well, we know David didn't have any money.
Right. Fortunately, Dolores was successful in getting his $45 gate check. she's extremely
Persistent.
persistent, resourceful, knowledgeable, and effective, which is why we would like to raise the funds to hire her. Okay, I'm seeing some typing going on. So let me get my
Glasses.
specs on.
We could do an ad for reading glasses.
Connie says, I think that Sphere is successful in an ongoing way. It does not function as a 4-year end product, but as ongoing support and education for as long as a person needs. Is this correct? Yes. It's the program that we've designed is a 3-phase program. First phase, self and other. Figure out what you want to focus on at this point in your life. Second phase, gain the skills. Third phase, do a project to gain real-world experience. This would all go according to the schedule of the participant. And they're ready to finish when they're ready to finish. And we have vetting along the way. Could be 4 years, could be a month, conceivably. Could be 8 years. We have, Jonathan and Virginia have been participating for 11 years, and they've essentially gone through the phases. We just haven't made it official, but they can attest to, and hopefully we'll soon have a video or two. Connie says, I hope that answered your question. Let me know if it didn't. It's an atrocity that Harold has no health insurance out here when he would have been taken care of in prison. Well, except for being released early, maybe. But yeah, I agree. What kind of message does that send people who are trying to make it out here?
Well, one of the things that Harold has repeatedly said is that it's scary out here. Because it's, in prison they take care of everything.
Right.
And they take care of all of your drugs.
Right.
And that's one thing that Harold has talked about, is the price of all of his drugs.
Right.
Is astronomical, and they take care of all of that. And they take care of your glasses and your dentistry. And
Right.
so even if you have to wait to see a doctor or something, but then they eventually get around to you.
Yeah. And honestly, that part of the system makes complete sense to me. I have talked often about intentional communities, which we could build and have people go to who want to live in a particular way. And that means, it could mean that one person handles the finances for the group. It could. I mean, it's a scalable model.
It's very...
give people a place to go. We could do it right away because there's so much land for sale, and we could, we're ready. I'm ready. Let's,
it works for recovery houses.
Yes, it did answer her question. Recovery houses.
I'm saying that it works because they can't live anywhere.
Oh, Lynn Jackson. And I missed that one. Hi. I don't know who Lynn is.
She's a friend of mine.
Well, awesome. Welcome.
From Alexandria.
Great. Thank you for being here. That's wonderful. We normally would have more people. Jonathan and Virginia are off on their monthly chance to get some free cat food. And they may join later if they get back in time, but we'll see. And Emily is sporadically here. Who else is
Brian.
regularly here? Brian tried it.
Oh, he'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, no reload. Oh, we have 5 people. Who else is here? Thank you for being here.
And if you see leave a mark, that's me.
Yeah, you type in the. Are you able to type in the live chat? I'm gonna type something. Hi all. Oh, comes up as me. I'd have to go on there to type as speaker. And then I'd put my face in the camera. I don't really want to do that, but I might have to at some point anyway.
Oh, Juanita.
Oh, is Juanita here?
Uh-huh.
Hi, Juanita. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
How are we doing? We're all stressed. At least I am. Everybody's stressed. Let's see. Yes, indeed. Yep. Haven't forgotten you. Been planning to stop by some point when things calm down. So, that was one question, that was one thing that Audrey and I have been talking about. Where are the people who care and have money? Because, please, feel free to type your thoughts about money in the live chat there. I'd love to hear read your thoughts, share them with other people who are there. I'm going to give my thoughts and ask Audrey to weigh in.
There was a Facebook posting of a video from someone, I don't know if he said where, I forget the name of what state he was at, but he was at a prison, and he was doing a Facebook Live video of where his dormitory was and the situation of the overcrowding and the social distancing, and the fact that the person who was above him had the virus, and another person in the dorm had the virus, and he was saying that, you know, that they're all locked up in there and that people are dying, and he was saying that the guards are not letting them out and they're just being left there to die. And he was very scared, and he just said, well, it was very emotional.
Where is he?
He's in a, I think it was in the South, but it was maybe Louisiana, one of the southern prisons.
For those of you who have not been on these, I have to go back and forth between, because I can't see what you're typing there, but please type. So you're AKA
Top notch.
Top Notch. AKA Top Notch is Audrey, who says, what is the difference between federal and state prisons? Connie says, yes, I feel stressed too. What is the difference between federal and state prisons? How much do you know about that?
Well, I just wanted us to talk a little bit about the time and the prisons and the type and who gets to go where. I mean, I know some of it is based on the crime that you do, but in terms of why do some people serve time in a federal prison, and what is the differences between the prisons? Because, for example, I was looking at the Louisiana prison, the largest prison in the country, the one that has the golf course. Did you know there was one? Yeah, it's the largest one. It's not called Mandingo, but it's something that's like that. That's the one with the prison system where it has the plantation houses, and the one that but it's the one with the golf course, but it's the largest one in the country, and it's based on the plantation model of having the prisoners do the labor. But part of it is the federal system. They can, exploit the laborers and do the 13th Amendment, and it's the ones that have been in existence since the plantations closed. And those are the ones that are in Georgia and Mississippi and the South. And the ones that actually never changed from the plantations, then they just got converted over to prisons. And there are a lot of them down in Mississippi, Alabama, and they just never changed.
I did not know about that.
Yeah, so it's the 13th Amendment. That movie is something that I think I would strongly encourage everyone to look at, but that's where people are still, working for 7 cents an hour.
Yeah. So.
And my understanding is, depending on your crime, of course, but I mean the people who are more violent are considered to be people that they want to put in prison. And the federal prisons are for the people who are more white-collar crime and money crime, money laundering, and not so much a violent type crime.
Probably drug.
And drugs.
Related.
More drugs and white-collar, banking, robbing banks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Upstate New York, where Jeffrey Epstein and those people go. The Wall Street bankers.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. So you're
Sexual abusers.
So you're saying there's a system, what would you call it?
Well, it's
What
not
do
a
you call it?
class, but it's
Class.
But
Not
it
a
is
class.
like a class, but it is
Like a class?
Well, I don't want to say class, but it might be
Oh, you don't
sort
want
of.
to say it.
It's a word antonym to it, class. It's
what?
I mean, they have activities for the people in prison. They have educational opportunities for them in federal prisons, where you can get degrees and you can get things that are other than a certificate. And I guess one of the things that I wanted to talk to Harold about, had he been here, is what is the benefit of getting these certificates that you get when you are in a state prison? Because I know that they produce a lot of certificates, but do any of them have any value whatsoever when you are released?
That would be a great question to ask. I would tend to think that the kitchen serve safe certification would probably be a door if there were jobs out there for people who had been in prison.
With large, extremely large kitchens, yeah.
Right. Or an individual could rent. I was just talking about this, I think with Connie. Rent a kitchen right now and put a delivery service in place, almost turnkey. As long as you get somebody to do the website, got the menu, you have the clientele, you get the word out, people are ordering out. And it's hard to find. And the places that what I have, like I've gone to pick something up, they are slammed more than they've been. And, they're making some money, and they're not having to do anything but just make more pizzas and sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's some places that are closed. A lot of restaurants are just closed. A lot of them, which is why the ones that are open are,
Yeah.
slammed. Let me just check in. I don't want to just ramble. I mean, I'm happy to just talk about whatever comes to mind, but I'd like these to be interactive, audience-driven. Juanita said no, but I'm not sure it was so. It was a while ago, so I don't know what it was in reference to. There's a delay between when I can.
Yeah, I don't know what she's responding to either.
Connie says, I think there is a misconception that has been perpetuated in society that former prisoners are bound to commit other crimes when released. Yeah. I would imagine it. Well, it depends on a lot of factors. But my sense is that the ones I'm talking to don't really want to go back. They're just, but the options are limited.
Yeah, the options of who will hire them, who will rent them space is so limited. And if you think about it, in your work career, where have you worked where there has ever been someone who is an ex-felon?
Well, I mean, a lot of times you just don't know, right?
Well, if there was an ex-felon among, your group, you would know, because they have to tell you. In most cases. But in most cases...
I mean, they have to tell the employer would have to know. And whether the employer, mentions it to anybody or anybody mentions it, and nobody asks, then, it's possible that you're working with people that don't. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And Connie's typing some things here that I'd like to... Connie says, we all hear about the high percentage of recidivism, but mainstream media does not address the larger issue of lack of support for reentry. Absolutely. I believe that if there was more public outrage about this, more people with money who care would want to help. Great. Juanita, I'm responding to what Audrey said about their certificate. They really don't help outside of prison. I believe that.
Yeah.
And it's sad because people think they're going to help.
Exactly. They think they're working on something.
Yeah.
And then if they don't have a GED, then they don't realize that they're walking out with actually no documents that's going to help and start them on the road to something.
Mm-hmm. Lynn, most companies will not hire anyone with a criminal record. Absolutely. It's just, what do we expect to happen?
Exactly.
What are we thinking is going to happen?
They can't live with their parents forever.
I think what most people think is somebody's got this,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's this foundation and this organization and that organization and their names are out there, and they get articles and photos, and it's not that they're not doing anything. They're doing something. But is it enough? I would have to look and say, no, it's not enough. So that means either they are going to have to work smarter, which they often talk about, but that means they're going to have to learn more to be able to work smarter.
And then they don't even know what that means.
Right. So but I'm saying that either that's going to have to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and then the money will be directed more properly in those quarters, or the money is going to have to come from another direction. It's one or the other. And if we say this is not going to happen, and I'm open, it might, but we've been at it for a long time, and I'm expecting this direction to be more likely to work out. It's just a matter of the fact that people who are in a position to help don't know about us.
Right.
So, as anybody who's watching this video and wishes to connect us with people who want to care and try something different and are in a financial position to help, then let's just meet and talk and do it. So Connie says that's why we have to create workplaces. Exactly. Which is, we're trying to do that with food trucks and mentorship and hiring, us being the people who are doing the hiring. Growing food, there can be a supply chain created for feeding people with food grown in our area. There's so much land that is not being utilized, and we're shipping it in from California. How much sense does that make?
The farthest state?
We're shipping it in from Mexico. Shipping it in from... Why?
Yeah.
Let's just grow it here. It will cost less. It'll be better. Just grow it here. That's, one thing that we can do.
Do you know Philip Cooper?
Computer programming. Do you know how many people there are in prisons who, if they were learning computer programming, they just don't know. But if they were learning computer programming, they would be able to get a job in I'm serious, a well-paid job online, because I see a lot of jobs on Indeed.com for computer programmers where they say, we don't care whether you have a degree or not. We don't care. If you can pass our tests, then you can do what we need you to do. We can do that. And some people really quickly. David, for example, if he wanted to, probably don't want to, but I'm just an example. It's clear he would be able to do that. There are many small businesses across the country that have been created for this purpose. Check out Rubicon. I have taken a look, and other things crowded out. Okay, Juanita says, I know because I was with Harold Ervin. No, what is that? There's another.
The coffee.
Oh, is it? Okay. My husband for the whole 30 years, from 1988 until February 14, 2019. So I know a lot. Richard, you guys are doing a great job. Thank you, Juanita.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad you're here, and I'm gonna stop by at some point. It's just been challenging for everyone. Everyone that I know. This time that we're going through is just a big shift. And we're all trying to figure it out. We're all on our path, trying to, we're in this together. We are all in this together. We have to make it work. Just like musicians, orchestra members, they go out on stage and they play.
Do you know
They don't
Philip
always
Cooper?
feel good, but they can sound great. Right, Connie? She knows what I'm talking about. Who?
Philip Cooper has a reentry program?
Philip Cooper. That
Yes.
name has not come up yet.
Okay.
Yes, Connie understands what I'm talking about with the musicians who have a good work ethic and go do it.
And they get paid a lot.
Not
They get paid,
always.
but not now
Well,
with
yeah.
the virus.
Yeah. And they're even online creating videos, collaborative videos of music and still producing for people in hopes that there will be people out there who will support them. Speaking of support, here are two ways that people can support us.
Can you type it in on the text?
I can type it in,
Yeah, that would be better than you
and
holding
I
it
will
up.
also hold it up, just so you can see it. Tell people. There's a delay. Let me switch over to the other thing so I can see immediately what it looks like. There. Patreon.com/Sphere College Project. You can do a monthly pledge, and there's a community that people can see that you're pledging, and everybody can get excited about what we're doing, and this is for a one-time donation or a monthly donation. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to use one of these maybe as the thumbnail for a future video. Different people, this goes out to the world and people search for different things and are attracted to different videos for different reasons. We're going to build an audience. We already have an audience here. Thank you for being here. This PayPal is a one-time donation or a private monthly amount. So yes, I'll type them. They're in the description, but I'll type it into the live chat as well.
Are you in Mecklenburg County?
Are we in?
You. Oh, no, you're not anymore.
I'm in Buncombe.
Oh, that's right.
Mecklenburg is Charlotte, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, Charlotte.
They have a program, formerly incarcerated training, a FIT program, that is for Orange, Durham, and Mecklenburg.
So we can collaborate and expand their program and work with them. I would love to do some collaborations.
Yeah,
as
it
well.
would be wonderful to find out what it is that they do.
Okay.
See if they can expand it. I mean, why include one of the largest counties? Okay, I'll take that as an action item. I'll follow up with them.
What do you want?
I'm looking for a pen.
There's a
Thank
pen.
you.
Mhm.
Because they have community health workers. That sounds like they have some infrastructure.
I think I typed this right. Patreon.com/Sphere College Project. And then there's PayPal.me/Sphere College Project. Okay, so those are a couple links for the money to pour into.
You might want to ask if anyone has a car they want to donate.
Does anyone have a car you want to donate? Harold is transportation challenge.
Tax deductible.
It's tax deductible. Kind of said, keep reading. Okay.
Has anyone on the list of people, has anyone donated any money
On the list of people?
who are chatting?
Has anyone? Connie has been a
Oh, I know she's been.
steadfast
Yes.
supporter of Spear as soon as she heard about it. It completely made sense to her as a musician. The mentorship. Let me talk about the mentorship thing for a minute, right? Musicians are seeking to achieve the highest that they can achieve. And they can only do that if they get someone working with them on a weekly basis to keep them on track. And, maybe more often, depends on the need, maybe less often. But that musicians get this, and if there's money available, they get it from a young age. But musicians get this until they become self-sufficient as a musician. What they're producing as a musician is desired in the world so much that they'll be paid good money to do it. Some musicians make a great deal of money, and I know a number of them.
Do you know John Legend?
Do I know John
John Legend? Yes.
Linton?
Legend.
Legend.
Yes, with Christy Tiggy.
No.
You don't know him? Okay.
No.
Just checking.
I'll tell you who I do know.
Uh-huh.
Maria Schneider.
From the Kennedy clan?
No. Maria Schneider is a jazz composer living in New York City, and she has a big band that has been the rave of the world for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
She's just amazing, and the musicians in her band, they're all amazing.
Dad, we should have a gala at Christmas time or something when we get our funding. I can see it.
Look up Maria Schneider, jazz, and turn it up loud and listen. Here we go.
Is she local?
She's from Minnesota. She's from...
Someone has to be.
Actually, southern Minnesota, kind of. There's not, a whole lot going. A family member of Harold's is a radio announcer in a local station, and Windham, Minnesota, is in the listening area of this local station.
Oh, really?
Maria.
Maria. I just met a girl named Maria.
Maria Schneider, jazz. Just look her up, folks. There you go. Okay, Juanita. If Harold had not walked down on me, he wouldn't be in need of a car, because I had that man back, shaking my head. I'm not sure I want to go into the whole
Yeah.
personal thing.
We're running out of
here.
time.
I mean, we're not running out. We can go on for hours, but this is, not the place.
Yeah. We could have a whole show about love within the prison walls.
We could. Yeah.
Between my sister, Juanita.
Yeah. We'll talk.
Yeah. Conjugal visits.
She says, I'm just saying. Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
How do we connect with those people who are in a position to financially help us out? Either I'm talking $2 a month on the Patreon account would be noticeable.
Well, I will say that Lynn and John are very generous people, and I think that they would like to help us out. They would also like to help you out just because, John is the 9-guitar guy. He loves music. He has his own CDs. He creates Christian music and has his daughter do the graphic arts on his CDs, and he's got a band, and he's very much into that. It's a stress reliever. So I plead with you, John, to open up that checkbook and write something that is for something that's different out of your normal arena. So instead of buying taxes, you're actually buying people a chance to get out of poverty, because this is the only way to escape it, is education, and people need a step up, and if they don't have family that can provide them with a step up, then they have to have an organization that can provide them with a safety net, funding when they have an emergency, and someone to call at 3 a.m. So if something happens that you would normally call your friends or your parents, that you can call this person and they will not just say, I can't help you out, sorry man. It has to be someone that you can depend on. Because whether it's a $20 bill or a $2,000, because anything less, you will be, well, I can't say this for sure, but recidivism is the reason why people go back, or going back to the streets and selling drugs. You go back to what you know, you go back to where your friends are, and it's, in recovery terms, it's you have a relapse. In this terms, you have a relapse because you go back to your old neighbors, your old friends, and they say, let me help you out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you feel comfortable with. You might not want to do it, but if you can get $500 in one weekend by just selling stuff that the customers are there, and people are going berserk with being in the house.
Mm-hmm.
People are going berserk with living with a mate that they never knew they would have to live with and face every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, I see more cases of beer going out of Ingles. People are buying cases of beer and bags of potato chips. Not a healthy mix.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of people going into substance abuse facilities after this is over.
We need to be prepared. We need to get on the stick, get this going now,
Yeah.
and not wait for the places that are closed down.
No, because I mean, the thing is, once you relapse,
Habitat for Humanity. Call them. Listen to their message. It says, we're closed. All of our job sites, closed. All of our whatever, closed. Our administrative offices, closed. That's what the message says. They say, there may be some people working from home. Meanwhile, other parts of the nonprofit industry are encouraging nonprofits to minimize. The support system for nonprofits is encouraging nonprofits to minimize their services, not expand, minimize at this time. I can point people directly to the place, the report that is recommending this. Employ only the staff that you need to stay in operation. That's what they're saying. So that's what the nonprofits are doing. So resources are drying up. This is the perfect time for us to expand.
mm-hmm.
Because crises did not take a holiday.
No.
And we're not just talking about Harold here either. We're talking about a lot of people. So let's get on the stick. Let people know that we are in existence and we are ready. Let's join the community together and support this thing. So, tra-la-la. Let's see what else we got. Any, Juanita, you're welcome. That was from thanking her for being here. Lynn, I will see what I can do. Thank you. Connie and John, please tell your friends about Spear. Kelby.
Oh.
Thanks for being here, Kelby. No one has made it clear on how to earn in this situation. So Kelby is speaking as someone who has done an extremely admirable job of pretty much putting it together on his own and maintaining, and he's here, and I really appreciate it. And no one has made it clear to him how he can earn, and we haven't either.
Right.
You know? Because we don't, I want to, Kelby. I really want to get out there, but our hands are...
We're kind of tied to
at the
Buncombe
moment.
County, the fact that there are these, like you got...
Right. Services are in Buncombe County. Yeah, some of them are out there, but Kelby's just saying there's been no support.
Right. And he lives in Buncombe County.
No,
he
Kelby's,
lives in...
Marion, which is...
Oh, I know where he lives.
I don't know what county that is. You can type it if you want.
It's over the mountain, though.
Kelby.
That's where my hairdresser lives.
Connie says, thanks, Lynn. Connie says they are forced to go back to that because they have no other way. Juanita, right. So, the problem statement is clear. I think the solution, let's just say a potential pretty good looking solution is out there. That is, let people know about us and what we're doing and what we would like to be doing in a big way in the very near future. We can tool up and make this thing go. I mean, there's 68 acres sitting right there that are look beautiful. There's a lot of acreage, but there's one that I looked at. It has a farmhouse on it. We can put some people in there, and we can clear some space and put some
Where are the
campers and
68
RVs.
acres?
They are in Rutherford County, or Polk County, but I think Rutherford.
Is this where you used to live?
No, that's where Harold lives and Juanita lives and
Oh, okay.
David lives and a lot of other people. But it's not a highly populated county. Like 70,000 people in the whole county.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Asheville alone has probably 100,000 now. So the whole county, Rutherford County, has fewer than, a portion of what's in Asheville alone. So there's a lot of space available. We can do some great things down there. Clear some space, put some campers and RVs for a community built of people who want to learn skills at their pace, which may be extremely fast or may take a while. So we are at 12:07. I could go on all day, but people have things to do and we have things to do, so let me just wrap up. There's any final thoughts that anybody here has, please type them, but you only get about a minute because I'm going to walk over there and shut this down. Actually, I don't have to walk over there. I can do it from here. Get my mouse. Go ahead, type it in. Final thoughts. And there's the end stream button. You could probably keep entering things for a little bit if you want. Oh, McDowell County. Oh, Marion. Right.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So, thank you all for being here. We're going to do our best to be here every week. This is our 13th in a row. We're going to try to be here next week and report on our successes.
And let us know what you think of this studio.
Yes.
If you like this studio better.
I like it better. All right. Thanks, y'all. See ya. Bye now.
Send us checks, money, rolled up pennies in paper, anything. Silver, gold.